Yali Mother to all friends.
Malali Madad.
Maulali Madad Niyamat ji.
Yali Mother. We have 2 minutes, so I'll do zikr for 2 minutes. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah, shukran lillah walhamdulillah. So Mubarakbad to all of you for being gathered here. We are going to start our new book, Proof of Imamat. And it's a small book, beautiful book, Proof of Imamat. And we will start studying the principle of excellence. There are some letters and introduction. You can read it on your own. And we will in the class discuss principle of excellence, which is on page 16. So I have in my hand. So if you have ebook, probably it will be a different number.
Ebook page 6.
6.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Quranic verse, and everything is encompassed in the Manifest Imam, chapter 36, verse 12, principle of excellence, namely evidences and demonstrations of the proof of imamat from the external world, afaq, and the internal world, anfus. If a wise person reflects upon the coherence and order of this world of multiplicity, he will definitely come to know that the universe and the creatures in it consist of different kinds or parts, and every large part consists of various small parts. The dominating principle is that just as there is one excellent and higher individual in the large parts, so also there is an excellent and higher individual in small parts, whether they are with or without life. This principle is called the principle of excellence. And accordingly, reasons for the proof of the Imam of the time, his excellence and the importance of his continuously remaining present in every age will be presented. God has created man by the collective act of the universe and the existence. In this respect, it is true to say that the universe and the existence are together like a gigantic tree, and man is its fruits. As Hazrat Hakim Pir Nasir Khusro says in his Roshana Nama, I'll say it in English, this universe is like a tree, and we are its fruit, because it is we who happily grow on it. Thus, whatever is scattered in the universe materially is gathered in man spiritually, just as whatever exists in the tree is in an actual, apparent, and scattered form, exists in the kernel in a potential, hidden, and united form. Thus, the fruit is produced by the tree, and the tree grows from the fruit.
You know, when you were reading, it's so beautifully written that it sounds, though it's a prose, but it sounds like a poetry. You just continue to keep reading it. I wonder if you feel that way. Yeah, it's so beautiful, right? So first, definitely we see this verse from Surah Yasin, and everything is encompassed in the manifest Imam, 36/12. So we are studying the proof of Imamat, and we are going to study a Kuliya principle of excellence. And Allama Sahib starts with the verse which is about Afaq and Anfus. Does anyone know which reference is that? All right. Afaq meaning external world, Anfus meaning the internal world. So microcosm and macrocosm. Both actually gives us evidences and it demonstrates the proof of Imamat. We have to be able to see it. So let us find out what are those proofs. And we are being told that those who are wise, the way Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says, right? P. Sadruddin was wise. Those who are wise, they will reflect. Reflect on what? Upon the coherence and order of this world of multiplicity. This world is of multiplicity, kasrat. There are so many people, so many things in this world in so many numbers, but every being in this universe is connected to the other. They are in order, they are coherent. It is kind of, there is a relationship. It is not that every piece is separate on its own. And that understanding will come through reflection. The way when we see that everything in this world has different kinds or parts, and every large part consists of various small parts. Let's simply take the example of a building. Okay, a building, it's one building, but within one building there are different floors. Those are parts. Now we can further divide it and say there are different rooms. Then every room has a furniture in it. That's how you can continuously see that there are so many parts. For example, let's just take the example of human body. We see us as one part, one human. But within that human, there are so many parts, so many organs, so many cells. These examples are for us to understand that there is a larger part and then there is a smaller part. But everything is connected to the larger part. Now, it doesn't stop there. Within these parts, there is an excellent and higher part or higher individual. Within these parts, there is one part which is the highest. When we take the example of, let's say, there are so many buildings in USA, but Statue of Liberty is unique, right? When we take the example of animals, there are so many kinds and types of animals, but lion is the king of animals. We see so many different types of flowers from all over the world, but rose is the king of the flowers. So meaning what we are saying, that though when we look at this world, it is multiplied into so many things, so many beings, so many different things. Every part is connected to its larger part. And when we talk of this connectivity, then we realize that within that connectivity, one is the highest among themselves. The way we took the example of buildings or animals. So in that genre, when we take that, one would be the highest, the excellent. That principle of excellence can be applied to anywhere. Let's take more examples so we truly understand it. If we take the example of all the trees, there are so many different types of trees in the world, but the olive tree is known as the best tree. There are, when we take the example of fruit, so many different types of fruit, but mango is known as the king of the fruit. And that is why Imam has taken the example of mangoes in his Farman. Imam compares onion with mangoes, because mango being the king of the fruits, if one has eaten that, they do know what it tastes like. And if someone has never eaten mangoes, they will think onions taste like mangoes. Similarly, when we talk of all the humanity, all humans are there, but the highest, the best is the perfect man, and that is the Imam, who is Amirul Mominin. It is the Imam who is above all the humans. And in his Nuraniyat, we all are one. We are, as humans, we are multiplied, we are in kasrat. But within Imam, within his being, we all are in wahadat. How? وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. That everything is encompassed in the manifest Imam. Everything, not just humans, everything is encompassed within manifest Imam. So God has created man by the collective act of the universe and the existence. In this respect, it is true to say that the universe and the existence are together like a gigantic tree, and man its fruit. This is the example given to us by actually Pir Nasir Khusro. Pir Sahib says that the whole universe is a tree, and the man is its fruit. Now, how amazing that example is. Can we close our eyes and understand that the whole universe is like a tree, and fruit is the human? Meaning the whole universe is here just for us. Just for us. When we take more examples of excellence, principles of excellence, all the buildings of the world, if we were to take all the buildings, we would say Khana-e-Kaaba is the best building. But then the whole universe, and along with Kaaba, it is all created for the fruit of that tree, that is humanity. When we take the example of all the stars, within that star, sun is the king. So whole universe, when we say it is a tree and human is the fruit, so whatever we see in stars, in our universe, oceans, whatever you name it, all has been created for humans, because human is the fruit of that gigantic tree. And that is why Pir Nasir Khusro says, Darakt as in jahan wa mewai mayam, ki khurram bar darakt o barayam. The universe is like a tree and we are its fruit, because it is we who happily grow on it. So whatever is scattered, whatever we see in this world materially, actually in spirituality, it is all gathered into a man, a human. And every man, everything, whatever we see, is gathered into Imam. Now, whenever we look at the tree is in reality, it is actual. It is visible, it is apparent. And it has branches, it has fruit, it has flower, it is scattered, spread out. But when we look at the fruit, which is produced by the tree, the fruit is very interestingly has a kernel, has a seed, in which the whole tree is hidden. It is that seed which can become the whole tree. Within that seed, the whole tree is existing, meaning that seed, we can say, potentially is a tree. But that tree is not visible to our eyes, it is hidden, and it is in united form. When we are seeing these words united and scattered form, I recall two names of Allah from 99 names, and those are Al-Qabis and Al-Basit. When we look at the seed, a kernel, everything is united. Everything is united. But when we look at the tree, it is like al-basid, it is all spread out. Opposite to that is al-kabis, it is all gathered, united cubs within that seed. And we do know the power of that kernel, meaning that if that kernel is planted, another tree will come. Now, this is a beautiful example, and I've not read further, but I would like to tell you its meaning, because we do need to understand what are we talking about by discussing this. When we are taking the example of the tree and having its kernel within the fruit, and it has potential hidden and united form of a tree. Let us take the example Imam being the tree and Mominin being the fruit. Those Mominin whose seed is properly planted into the earth, the Momin who becomes earth, becomes very humble, says he's nachis, he's no one. If that seed is planted, watered, receives the sunlight, that Momin is Salik step by step, because kernel has to go through so many stages to become the tree. Within that Momin is Salik, the whole universe will manifest. The whole universe will manifest, just like a tree. When we look at the kernel, it is just a seed. We do not see the tree. The tree is potential, it is hidden, it is in united form. But when we were to look at the tree itself, it is actual. We are able to see it, it's apparent, and it is scattered. The whole universe, when we look at it, it is a scattered form of His Nur. It is apparent. But when we are understanding the principle of excellence, we do know it is only the Imam who is the perfect man, who is with Nur. Potentially, that Nur is present in every being, every human being. Potentially, it is hidden. So let's read further and then we'll continue this line of discussion.
It is evident from the discovery of the above-mentioned facts that the creative form of the universe and men, or the external world and the internal world, is the law of God and His practical book, in which there is no room for any kind of doubt, because its signs are clear and visible in a practical form for the people of insight. And it is a fact that the book which is free from any kind of doubt can eventually become the source of certitude for all people, as God says in chapter 41, verse 53. During the revelation of the Quran, God says, "Soon we will show our signs to them in the horizons of the world, and within themselves, until it becomes manifest to them that He is true." Now, by the grace of God, certain necessary evidences from the external and internal worlds about the dominating position of the principle of excellence and what it represents will be explained in the following.
By understanding the example of the tree, we are able to understand the creative form of the universe and man. We do understand that in afaq and anfus, within the man and within the universe, there is creation which takes place. So in other words, what we are saying, that humans are His fruit, His best creation. And when we look at His book of nature, which is a practical book, right? And when we are looking at the universe, there are so many evidences, there are so many examples given to us that there is no place for any kind of doubt. His signs are clear and visible. But what is required to be able to see that clearly, visibly? Only those who have insight, those who use intellect, they are the ones, they will be able to see these signs. Otherwise, all these signs are right in front of everybody. But there are very few who truly understand these signs. And that is why Allama Sahib is saying that this book of nature, actually it is free from any kind of doubt. But for that, we do need certainty. And that is the source of certitude, as Allah says in 41 by 53. So the first, in the beginning when we were looking at the afaq and anfus, it is coming from this verse 41 by 53, that all the signs are actually kept for us in the horizons. All the signs are truly kept for us in the horizons, but only those who have insight, who are wise, will be able to identify the signs outside and within themselves. Why and how? Because it truly gets manifested. It truly gets manifested. It is Allah's desire that His signs are manifested for us. But we do need to do our part to have that insight to be able to see those evidences. And then Allama Sahib is saying that we will, in this book, will read some of the evidences to understand that how the principle of excellence is playing its part for us to understand it. So let us study the first principle.
Number 1. Evidence from the heavens. There are 9 heavens which, with respect to vastness and nobility, are in order and grades, and the 9th, called the Divine Throne, excels the rest of them in vastness and nobility. Thus, the superiority and excellence of one rank as the Divine Throne among the ranks of the heavens is as clear an evidence as broad daylight in the external world of the fact that, in the world of humanity as well, there is an individual who surpasses the rest of the human beings in excellence and eminence and encompasses them by his knowledge and wisdom. Just as the 9th heaven encompasses the rest of the heavens and all the things of the universe, this individual is the divine throne in the world of humanity and the world of religion. This evidence or sign, ayat, demonstrates the practical meaning of the Quranic verse, chapter 36, verse 12, and we have encompassed everything, i.e., the entire knowledge and wisdom concerning the form of the universe and its inhabitants, in the manifest and speaking Imam.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So there are actually 9 levels, 9 grades of heavens in order. And Quran gives the names of different heavens, different levels. But the name of the 9th heaven is given for us here, which is the divine throne. Arsh. Khudai Arsh. And if we do know Ayatul Kursi, we would know Arsh and Kursi. So this is the throne, which is Arsh, and it is the highest heaven. Of course, it is so vast and it is noble. Why? Because it is living. This Arsh, though we say it is Arsh, but remember in our tariqah, everything is living. So when we mention the word Arsh here, we are actually talking about Imam. We are talking about Imam. So the superiority and the excellence of one rank as the divine throne among the ranks of the heavens is as clear and evidence as broad daylight in the external world. So when we take the example of heavens, like if there are 9 grades, 9 heavens, the ninth is the topmost. So if we were to take out all the names of the heavens, which are Jannat-e-Firdaus, Jannat-ul-Naim, Jannatul-Adan, there are so many names which are given in the Quran of all different heavens. Topmost, the excellent is Arsh. Why Arsh? Arsh is that takhat on which the Noor sits, the Imam sits. That is why it is above all heavens. And when we are looking at all the heavens, and the topmost heaven has encompassed all other heavens below it. In other words, we are talking about ranks. That Imam is the highest rank and all other ranks are being encompassed within him. Again, for that understanding, what do we need? We do need knowledge and wisdom. Imam's rutbah, Imam's eminence, everything is encompassed, every knowledge and every wisdom is encompassed within the Imam. The way when we imagine the heavens, step by step heavens, the first highest most is the divine throne, the Arsh, and all other heavens are below it. In other words, we can also say these are ranks. When we think of ranks, Imam is above all. In that way, what we are saying that in the world of religion, in the world of humanity, the Arsh is the highest most. This is a sign which practically demonstrate to us through the Quranic verse, وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. So in reality, what we are doing, we are seeing in this example, we are talking about actually heavens. Heavens which are mentioned in Quran, right? We've heard of 7 heavens, but here Allama Sahib is talking about the 9th heaven being the highest. So yes, there are 7th heaven, then there is 8th heaven, then there is 9th heaven. The name of the 9th heaven is Divine Throne, which is the Arsh, which is the throne. So yes, throne is the above all. It feels like that we are looking at a throne and underneath there are different heavens. But what is the meaning of that throne? And in our tariqah, everything when we talk of, every rank we talk of, it is living. So in reality, behind this throne, we are talking about Imam, in which everything is encompassed. Let's say knowledge, wisdom, whole universe, actually it is encompassed within the personality of Imam. So we are taking the example of heaven, but we do know the meaning of it, and that meaning is Imam. So if we were to take the example of heaven and look at the 9th heaven, yes, 9th is the best heaven. We understand that example. But I gave you a little bit more by giving you the meaning of that heavens too. But if you keep these two concepts separate and look at the heavens, yes, 9th heaven is the highest most out of all these heavens. So principle of excellence, principle of being the best is the topmost heaven. But heavens in itself, what does it mean? Okay, there is heaven, so what? How is it important and for us as Ismailis? Because we as Ismaili see this Quranic verse when Allah says that everything is encompassed within the Imam. Heavens is also encompassed within the Imam. So when we are talking about the highest most heaven, who is that heaven? It is Imam. That is why we say that we are always in heaven. Being Ismailis, we are always in Jannat. How? Because we are with Imam, we are in Jannat of Imam. So we are talking about two different things, but meaning is same. And that is that Imam is above all else. He is at the principle of excellence. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Shukr. All right.
I do have a question.
Jijan.
So it mentions here 9 heavens, and then we said that we in the Quran we have the ayats where 7 heavens. So what's the difference? Like, where, is there an ayat that also mentions 9 heavens in the Quran?
Yes, it does mention 9 heavens. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. You will read 7 heavens, and then you will read the ninth heaven is the topmost, the excellent level of heaven. But we always look for meaning, right? What is the understanding? Yes,
Right.
one is the heavens, but the meaning of the heaven for us, we do know that it is the Imam for us. So we always have to talk about the meaning of it too, which comes towards the end. As I was saying at the end, that and we have encompassed everything, the entire knowledge and wisdom concerning the form of the universe, its inhabitants, which is humans, animals, everything, in the manifest and speaking Imam. So imagine the throne being the throne which is like above the universe. Everything is being encompassed in that throne, within that throne. And that throne is living for us, and that is the personality of the Imam. In its subtlety, everything is encompassed within the Imam.
So because in Miraj, when Prophet Muhammad reached the 7th heaven, that's where he saw Ali. So that was the Imam. So there was also the Imam, the 7th heaven.
Yes, you're very
That's
right.
okay.
So very good question. So then you are saying who would be the eighth heaven and ninth heaven? And I did
Oh,
allude
okay,
to
okay,
ranks,
okay. I
meaning
got it.
there are ranks we need to understand.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we are saying that Paigambar Muhammad saw Maula Ali at seventh heaven, you are absolutely correct. If there is eighth heaven, there is ninth heaven, and Imam was at seventh heaven, meaning what is at eighth level, what is at ninth level. And we are reading here very clearly that everything is encompassed within the Imam. Meaning, for us, we need to have the recognition of Imam to know how Imam is at the eighth level and at the ninth level. Because there are darajat in literally everything in the religion. So I hope I have made it simpler and not confusing. I would summarize and say that we have to walk on the path of recognition of Imam to be able to understand. What Shamim actually pointed out was a very good point, that on the seventh heaven is Imam, but here we are reading clearly ninth heaven and we are talking about Imam. So meaning that within Imam there are darjat. And we do need to learn about those darjat to be able to understand how is Imam at seventh heaven and how the ninth heaven is also Imam. What does that mean? But do know that everything is encompassed within the Imam. All knowledge, all wisdom, everything is encompassed within the Imam. That is the kulya which we have to remember. And that's what we are studying. Principle of excellence. So when we talk of even heavens, Imam is that excellent heaven where we have to reach. All right? Ji Gulzar.
या आले मदद भाई
Mulai Mudar.
मैं एक पॉइंट इधर मेरे को याद आया बोलना था बोलूं मैं
Ji Ji.
मैं ना जब पढ़ती थी ना नाइट स्कूल में तो एक दाई माँ बाप का था वो नाम दाई माँ बाप का याद नहीं है लेकिन वो फरमाते हैं कि पूरे गायों में अगर है ना जो सबसे बड़ी गाय है मान लो तो वो शेपर्ड नहीं बन सकती लेकिन एक माली होना चाहिए जो पूरी गायों को चराने लेके जा सकता है तो वो है ना ऐसा इमामत के ही कुछ उसमें हमको ऐसा मेरे को याद आ रहा कि समझाए थे कि याली पापा इस अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मतलब ऐसा कि हम सब इंसान है वो सब गाय है और याली पापा जो है वो लाइक अ शेपर्ड तो ये थोड़ा मैं ऐसा कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर दी थी ये प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एक्सीलेंस तो ऐसा तो सही है
हाँ, आप कनेक्शन जोड़ सकते हैं. She is giving example of a shepherd that, when you take look at these heavy big animals, right? Cows, buffaloes, camels, whoever, whatever you say, but they are being taken care of by one human, and that could be even actually a young kid. How and why the child or human distinguishes with these heavy, strong, powerful animals? Because that human has intellect. That is the first understanding, Gulzar, कि intellect की वजह से all these big heavy animals are being taken care of by a shepherd. But when we apply this example to Imam, yes, Imam's akal is akle kul, and that is why Jamaat is said to be all the cows, or Imam is our shepherd. He directs us, he guides us, he feeds us, he takes care of us spiritually. So Imam is that perfect man. Imam's akal is akle kul, through whom we are guided. So yes, there is a connection in that way. What
Thank
I
you very much.
realized, Shukran Mala.
Thank you so much. Ya Madad.
Yeah,
Next week, when we start, maybe that sentence after the poem by Nasser Khusro. That sentence, thus whatever is scattered in the universe materially is gathered in man spiritually, just as whatever exists in the tree in an actual apparent and scattered form exists in the kernel in a potential hidden and united form. Thus the fruit is produced by the tree and the tree grows from the fruit. That line, whatever is in the universe is scattered, is gathered in man spiritually. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about that next time.
next time, okay.
Yeah, I feel there's more in that than I'm getting. I'll think about it as well, some more between now and then.
Okay,
Please, thanks.
thank you. Yali Madad, Yali Madad,
Yali
Yali Madad,
Very good, Naima. Thank you.
Yali
Shukran,
Madad,
Mama.
Yali
Yali
Madad,
Madad.
Mama. Thank you
Yali
so
Madad,
much.
Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Madad.